This is a quick video about transformations. What are transformations and what effect do they have on an object? Now there's a great little YouTube video that's available. It's called Transformation Style, and it helps go over all the vocabulary so that it becomes accessible to you. So let's kind of go through some of the things that we normally talk about. A translation, another word would be a slide. Reflection, another word would be a flip. And rotation, another word would be a spin. So translation, reflection, rotation, these are the academic vocabulary that shows us how a figure can move. And that is what a transformation is, an image that can change, that describes a change in the position, size, or shape of a figure. We're going to concentrate in this video only on the position of the figure. So we have things we need to consider. We have the pre-image and we have the image. The pre-image is where it starts from and the image is where it ends up. Probably the best way to notice the difference is when on the pre-image, you will see that the letter has no prime mark. There'll be a prime mark there. So it always begins at the letter by itself, and once it moves, it's renamed. If it moves again, it would be renamed over and over and over, so you know exactly where it is in this transformation. Now a translation, where we're going to start with, it's a slide of a figure to a new location. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at moving this house here 6 units left and 5 units down. So if you start with the letter A and move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units to the left and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units down, this is where A prime would be located. From there, you would continue and you'd have B prime located here, C prime located there, here is E prime, and here is D prime. So go ahead and then connect those together, and we get this little house here. So let's list the ordered pairs for the house. So if we look at A, we notice that the location of point A is at +3, +4. At location B would be +4, +3. Location C is +4, +1. Location D is at +2, +1, and location E is at +2 and +3. Now we can do the same thing for A prime. We see that A prime's over on the negative side here, so 1, 2, 3 negative and 1 down, so -3, -1. And we could continue to find them, or we can do it by the math. We know that when we talk about going 6 units left, we are subtracting 6, and we're going 5 units down, we're subtracting 5. So from whatever the X is, we would subtract 6. Whatever the Y value was originally, we could subtract 5. So with that in mind, I could look at this 4 and say 4 take away 6 is -2. 2 take away 6 is -4. So I know that those are those locations. Same thing with the Y. 3 minus 5 is -2. 1 minus 5 is -4. And again, 3 minus 5 is -2. So we have all the points there which we could find. Now, let's talk about a reflection. A reflection is a flip of a figure over a point or line. So a line of reflection is where the image and the pre-image are the exact same distance from this line. So if I was to move this line here anywhere, we'd be exactly the same amount away on each side. So let's take a look at the different axes. So we know that the x-axis, that y equals some number. So let me get this line here and put it on the x-axis. So with the x-axis, let's say I was to draw a triangle, which I'll draw right here. Okay, and relocate it a little bit here. And if I was to take this triangle and reflect it over the axis, it would not only flip over, but it would be the exact same distance away. So it would be a mirror reflection on the other side. Now the same is true for when it is the y-axis. So when the y equals a number, it's going to flip over this here, the y-axis, where y equals 0 there. And when it flips over, it's going to be equidistant as well. So we're going to find it on that side of the line of reflection. Now, one thing to notice is that in a reflection, our direction can change, but the position always changes. The only time the direction changes is when we're going over the x-axis. And we notice with a translation, the direction never changes. So let's take a look at this reflection, and here we have a figure, FGHI, and it's a trapezoid. So let's take a look at that. We know that we're going to flip it over the y-axis. So let's draw a line of reflection here. We get a line. We'll make it green and a little thinner. There we go. And we'll draw a line of reflection right here. Oops. Let's make that line green. Make that line green. There we go. And we're going to notice that F is 1 away from the line, so we're going to put that right there, and this would be F prime. We're going to continue to do that and put all our points on there. So when it flips over the line, it's going to be located just like that. So when we have F prime, G prime, H prime, and I prime, once again, we're going to go through and put the points in here. So for F, we see it's located at 1, 2. G is located at 3, 4. H is located at 3, negative 4. And I is located at 1, negative 2. Now, we can look again here at the F prime, and the F prime is located at negative 1, positive 2. But if we notice the pattern, just like we did before, when it's flipping over, we see that the G is at the same level, that everything is at the same level, which means the Y is not changing. So when we reflect over the Y-axis, the Y will always stay the same. So I know these values of 2, 4, and negative 2 are going to stay. But they do change over here. So I notice that it's exactly 1 away. This is 3 away. So basically I'm taking the opposite sign. So instead of negative 3, this would be negative 3, and negative 1 to reflect the opposites. So sometimes you can find the pattern instead of counting. You can do that. Now with a rotation is a turn of a figure about a point. The turn is counted in degrees and stated by direction. This is called the angle of rotation. So we have a 90-degree counterclockwise, and we can go 180 clockwise. So you can go clockwise or counterclockwise. You can move 90 degrees, 180 degrees. You could even move 270 degrees. And we know that they do vice versa. So let's see this in practice. So let's do a 90-degree clockwise around the origin. So if we take this as our center point and we rotate this triangle around the origin, we will end up down here. So what that does for us is, take a look at what's happening with the L, just the L point only. We know that L is at 2, 3. And then when it moves to L prime, we're now at 3, negative 2. There's a relationship there, which is in another video about algebraic representations, if you want to look at that. Let's try it again now, looking at 180-degree clockwise around the origin. So we're going to go around the origin this way, coming in over here, and we can see how that L prime is moving over. So if I wanted to know where this L double prime is, so now it's negative 3, so negative 2 and negative 3. Its relationship from where it started to where it ended there. We can even take this a step further and say 90 degrees counterclockwise around the origin, which would take us to the left, which is the same as 270 degrees clockwise around the origin, and that would put us over here, which would give us a point of L prime being at negative 3 and positive 2. There is a relationship in here, and again, you'll probably see it better in the algebraic representations video. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something about transformations.